5 years from now, you'll either think, I can't believe I finally changed, or I can't believe I'm still here. And the decision that splits those two timelines isn't what you think. It's not a side hustle, not a budget app, not even willpower. It's something you do or don't do in the first 90 seconds after your alarm goes off. That moment when your hand reaches for your phone. That's the moment. That's the choice that determines everything. And if you think I'm exaggerating, your bank account is proof I'm not. Here's the uncomfortable truth. You don't have a time management problem. You have a first decision problem. The first choice you make after waking up tells your brain what kind of day you're about to have. And most people, like not lazy people, not unmotivated people, but tired, well-intentioned people, blow that decision before their eyes are fully open. They reach for the phone, they scroll, they check messages, read bad news, compare themselves to strangers, and activate every stress circuit in their prefrontal cortex before they've even put their feet on the floor. By the time they pour coffee, their dopamine baseline is already shot. Here's where it gets worse. Your brain doesn't distinguish between, I'm just checking Instagram real quick, and I'm surrendering control of my attention for the next 14 hours. Once you hand over your first conscious decision to an algorithm designed to keep you distracted, you've trained your default mode network to expect hijacking. You've told your amygdala that every notification is urgent. You've signaled to your striatum that reward comes from screens, not progress. And by 9 a.m., you're already behind. Not because you lack discipline, but because you activated the wrong neural pathway at 6:47 a.m. This is Hebbian learning at its most vicious. Neurons that fire together wire together. And every morning you repeat the scroll-first pattern, you're strengthening the circuit that says external stimulation, internal intention. That's not a character flaw, that's neuroscience. Picture this, you set your alarm for 6 a.m. because tonight is the night you finally get serious. You're going to work on that project, write, learn something, move your life forward. The alarm goes off, you silence it. You tell yourself you'll get up in 5 minutes. But your hand, completely on autopilot, opens your phone, just to check the time you tell yourself. But then you see the notification count. 3 texts, 12 emails, a news alert about something outrageous. And now you're reading, scrolling, reacting. Your heart rate ticks up. You feel a tiny hit of urgency, maybe even a little anger. 20 minutes pass. You finally get out of bed, but that razor-sharp mental clarity you woke up with? Gone. Burned on content you won't remember by noon. You make coffee. You sit down to work on the thing that matters. But your brain feels sluggish, distracted. The words don't come. The focus isn't there. So you open the browser, check one more thing. And by 8 a.m., you've used your peak cognitive window to argue with strangers on the internet and learn which celebrity got divorced. Now picture the next version, same alarm, same tired body. But this time, when you silence it, you do one thing differently. You don't touch the phone. You stand up, you drink water. You sit down with a notebook and write one sentence about what you're going to accomplish today. Not 10 goals, one. And then you spend 30 minutes doing the hardest thing on your list, while your brain still has full processing power. No apps open, no distractions, just you and the work. That's it. That's the only difference. But 5 years from now, those two versions of you are living in completely different realities. Let me show you exactly what's happening in your skull during that first hour. When you wake up, your brain is flooded with cortisol. Not the bad kind from chronic stress, but the kind that makes you alert, focused, ready to act. Your prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for decision-making and goal pursuit, is running at near peak efficiency. You're in what researchers call a hypofrontality window. Low internal resistance, high neuroplasticity, maximum learning capacity. This is biochemical gold. But here's the catch, that window closes. Research shows that your ability to engage in deep, focused work drops significantly after the first 90 to 120 minutes of waking. Why? Because as the day progresses, your brain accumulates decision fatigue, your dopamine reserves deplete, and your amygdala starts scanning for threats and distractions. By mid-morning, you're operating with the mental equivalent of 60% battery, and you haven't even started the thing that matters yet. Now add in the phone. The moment you open social media or email, you spike your dopamine with low-effort stimulation. Dopamine is your brain's motivation currency, and you just spent it on nothing. Worse, you've activated loss aversion. You see what other people are doing. You read about problems you can't control, and your amygdala tags those inputs as threats. Now your nervous system is primed for reactivity, not creativity. You've literally rewired your morning from builder mode to survival mode. Read that again. Carol Dweck's research on mindset shows that the beliefs you activate early in the day shape your response to challenge for hours afterward. If your first mental act is passive consumption, you've primed a fixed mindset. If your first act is intentional creation, you've primed a growth mindset. And that priming compounds. One morning doesn't matter. But 1 in 25 mornings, that's who you become. This is the part where most people expect me to say, just wake up at 5 a.m. and meditate for an hour. I'm not going to say that, because this isn't about performing someone else's morning routine. This is about installing a single, non-negotiable decision loop that rewires your relationship with your own attention. I call it the first choice protocol. Step 1. Pre-decide your first action the night before. Write it down, one sentence. Tomorrow, before I touch my phone, I will blank. That blank can be drink water and stretch. Write 3 sentences, walk around the block. Doesn't matter. What matters is that you've made the decision. While your prefrontal cortex is still online, not when you're groggy and running on autopilot. Step 2, put your phone across the room. Not on your nightstand, across the room. If you have to get out of bed to turn off the alarm, you've broken the scroll reflex. This isn't discipline, this is environmental design. You're removing the choice before your half-asleep brain can make the wrong one. Step 3, protect the first 30 minutes. Not the first hour, not 90 minutes, just 30. That's all you need to install the new circuit. During that window, no input, no scrolling, no email, no news. You consume nothing, you create something, even if it's bad. Even if it's 3 messy sentences in a journal. You've told your brain, I control my attention. It doesn't control me. Step 4, stack the win. After those 30 minutes, do something physical. 10 push-ups, a 2-minute walk, doesn't matter. You're layering a second intentional action on top of the first. You're compounding the signal. And your dopamine system is learning. Oh, we get rewards from doing hard things early, got it. Step 5, track it, not in an app, on paper. Put a check mark on a calendar every day you execute the first choice protocol. Why paper? Because your brain treats physical tracking differently than digital tracking. There's a reason Jerry Seinfeld's don't break the chain method works. Visual proof of consistency builds identity. And identity, not motivation, is what changes behavior permanently. This isn't about mornings. This is about proving to yourself every single day that you can override autopilot. And once you prove that in the morning, you'll start proving it at lunch. At 8 p.m. when you want to zone out. At the store when you want to buy something you don't need. You're installing a master circuit. I make intentional choices. I'm not a passenger in my own life. Imagine waking up next Saturday. Same bedroom, same alarm sound, same tired eyes. But the dread is gone. Not because anything external changed, but because you spent 5 days proving to yourself that you can win the first decision. And now you're not wondering if you'll get your life together. You're watching it happen in real time. That's what's on the other side of this. Not motivation, not hype. Just the quiet, unshakable knowledge that you are someone who does what they say they're going to do. And once you become that person, everything you've been chasing, the money, the respect, the options, the freedom, it's not a dream anymore. It's a byproduct. 5 years is 1 at 825 mornings. If you win 80% of them, that's 1,460 intentional decisions compounding in your favor. Do the math. That's not incremental change. That's a completely different life. But here's the thing. Nobody's coming to make you do this. No app is going to fix it. No motivational video is going to rewire your brain for you. This is the choice, the only one that actually matters. And you're going to make it tomorrow at 6:47 a.m., whether you think about it or not. So if you're done being a passenger, if you're ready to take your attention back and build the next 5 years instead of wondering where they went, subscribe to this channel. Not because you need more content, because subscribing is the decision that says, I'm going to stop letting my brain run me. And if that's you, welcome. This is where the rewiring starts. The alarm goes off tomorrow. What are you going to reach for?